There's a myth that's common these days, that we're living in a time without myth. I don't think this is quite true. Leaving aside the more recent meaning of myth as signifying something imaginary or untrue, there's a deeper meaning of the word from the Greek mythos that speaks to a compelling or life-changing story, saga, or tale, something that was originally delivered by word of mouth. It's a narrative that we tell ourselves, often to the point where it becomes all-encompassing and beyond dispute. Typically, it's absorbed without conscious deliberation, and somehow lived out through one's actions and beliefs. There are many ways to describe our current myth, depending on which aspects we might want to focus on. One way that feels relevant here is to call it a myth of market sufficiency, which is to say that no matter where we turn, we seem to be told, often without words, that the market is enough, that we don't need anything beyond it, that our transactional identities should suffice. The myth is constantly whispering to us that we don't need mystery, we don't need heritage, we don't need natural communities, and we don't even need the nature under our feet, except insofar as we can harvest these goods from the commons and sell them back to each other in relatively neutered forms, thus rendering them safe for the marketplace, pasteurized and processed. The market is meant to be a cornucopian god. It's meant to provide all, so long as it's funneled through its homogenizing horn of plenty. What more could you ask for? That's the myth of market sufficiency. What about the forest, you might ask? Oh no, don't go in there. It's full of wild beasts, and if you enter there, you'll become a beast yourself. The market god doesn't like when people start talking seriously about the forest, about nature that can't be parceled, mysteries that aren't profaned, communities that aren't transactional, and histories that don't culminate in a post-postmodern timelessness of marketplace bliss, where everything's bought and sold, where everything's up for grabs, where everything's processed, even products that are labeled as raw. We're all meant to be good anti-heroes in that saga of marketplace stasis, where everything churns but nothing really changes, nothing really grows, except under the heat lamps of the marketplace itself. If this unsettles you, as it does me, then it's important to start speaking of a different kind of myth, a different narrative in which to place ourselves. I envision a myth of our forest return, where the trees that envelop us stand for our gods, our peoples, our lands, and where this sort of collectivizing is respected around the world. This is the way towards dynamic peace, a bioregional ecology of peoples, where groups are left to grow on their own terms, in their own ways. Now that's a product that's not currently on the market. It's rather something out there in the wild, in the forest, beneath the trees. It's there for the taking, if we're beastly enough to try.